but it's hard. And it's lonely. It's very lonely. I just know that if that loneliness can exist, so can other things, and I will be okay.
Forget everything you know about fairy tales, because this rehearsal turned into a real-life thriller you'd swear was pulled straight out of a streaming crime doc. Picture the scene. The cast is deep into rehearsal at the iconic Palladium. Lights dimmed low. The orchestra's tuning up. Everyone is locked in, hyper-focused, fully in the zone. Then suddenly, boom. Out of nowhere, security bursts in, and it's not subtle. It's not quiet. It's not some low-key whisper situation. No, they charge in like it's an episode of a Netflix true crime series. Two men, from opposite sides of the stage. Zero hesitation.
Every time she speaks, she gets less likable. There's some clip of her on the internet in her Snow White outfit saying, "Every hour I am in the outfit of Snow White wearing the dress. All 18 hours, I deserve to be paid for every single..."
Both making a direct line toward Rachel Zegler. The room, instantly paralyzed. The music cuts out. You could feel the tension freeze the air. Mouths drop. Nobody moves. Even the stagehands, stuck like mannequins. Total silence. The kind where you really could hear a pin hit the floor, and then it happens. Right there, center stage, with every eye locked on her, Rachel Zegler gets escorted off, like she just triggered a Disney-level meltdown. The quality, grainy. The vibe, crystal clear. You can see Rachel's face, confused, thrown off, her hand mid-air like she's trying to say, "Wait, what's going on?" And just like that, she disappears off stage.
I get stopped for photos every time I'm online for the Snow White ride, and I have to pretend like, oh God, well, crazy that we're in front of this.
Wait, how often are you in line for the Snow White ride?
I'm a narcissist.
Stage. The dancers didn't flinch, didn't blink, just stood there locked in place like human statues at Madame Tussauds. It didn't feel like a rehearsal anymore. It felt like a scene straight out of a surreal psychological thriller. So now we're left wondering, how did Rachel Zegler, the once bright-eyed starlet of West Side Story, Spielberg's Golden Girl, go from cinematic sweetheart to being silently pulled out of one of London's most iconic theaters? Let's rewind. Not too long ago, Rachel Zegler couldn't stop talking about how much playing Eva Peron meant to her. She called it sacred, transformative, the kind of role that stirred her soul like a cinematic perfume ad during awards season. Her interviews were wide-eyed and emotional, while her Instagram posts were practically visual poems, tear-filled captions about legacy and Latina pride, paired with soft-lit close-ups of vintage scripts like Renaissance still lifes. For a brief moment, it seemed like Rachel was about to pull off the ultimate redemption arc, the post-Snow White comeback no one saw coming. After the backlash over her PR flops, including the infamous "I did Shazam for the paycheck" quote, EVITA was positioned as her clean slate, a do-over. For Rachel, it was a chance to reclaim credibility. For producers, it was a high-risk, high-reward gamble. Rachel stepped into the spotlight again, even telling Allure she longed for sisterhood in the industry. "All I'm ever really looking for in this business is a sister," she said, "and they're not always easy to find." The setup seemed perfect. Strip away the noise, give her a stage, a spotlight, and that powerhouse voice. Boom, theatrical magic. And at first, that's exactly what it looked like. The buzz was undeniable. Theater blogs went wild. One headline read, "Zegler reclaims her crown." Another dubbed her the return of the Queen. But before opening, night even arrived. The energy shifted. And in theater, one thing never lies: the vibe in the rehearsal room. According to multiple insiders, that vibe soured fast. It began with Rachel arriving late to rehearsals, latte in one hand, earbuds. Draped in an oversized designer hoodie. No outbursts, no diva tantrums, but definitely not giving Broadway royalty either. In theater, punctuality is more than professionalism. It's sacred. Being late throws off the entire rhythm. Lighting, choreography, blocking, music, everything. And reportedly, Rachel was throwing off the rhythm a lot. Then came the feedback. Notes on blocking, minor costume suggestions, lighting tweaks, all standard fare. But things turned theatrical in the worst way. Rachel allegedly didn't just question creative direction. She began rewriting it. Sources say she modified choreography mid-scene, added unapproved dramatic pauses, and essentially restaged moments like she was directing her own one-woman show. Is this still EVITA or Zegler? The remix? One cast member reportedly joked. Past clips of Rachel surfaced, including a teary-eyed moment where she said, "I cried just seeing the Snow White logo," which for some fans read as vulnerable, while critics saw it as calculated. Meanwhile, in rehearsals, tension kept building. During one of Rachel's improvised changes, another actor reportedly slipped. Lighting techs scrambled to keep up with her shadow sensitivities. Online, her social media tone changed too. Gone were the cheerful posts and tributes to Eva. In their place, cryptic Instagram stories with captions like, "Protect your peace," "Not every space is sacred," and "Unsafe rooms wear pretty faces." Her loyal fan base interpreted it all as the musings of a young artist navigating toxic spaces. Broken, but brave. One viral caption read, "To everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came in pieces, and people still line up to see her." But backstage, the mood had changed. Ensemble members reportedly began distancing themselves. One even asked to be moved on stage to avoid clashing. The sound crew adjusted mic levels daily to compensate for her ever-shifting vocal delivery. Whisper soft one day, Broadway belting the next, and then came the real rupture. Jim Lloyd, the celebrated director behind the EVITA revival, reportedly did everything he could to make it work. But eventually, he stopped giving Rachel notes altogether. Every communication had to go through the assistant director or stage manager. In theater terms, that's catastrophic. When a director stops speaking to the lead, it's not just creative friction, it's complete breakdown. One crew member joked, "Her voice doesn't sound like nails on a chalkboard at all." Nope, totally fine. But everyone backstage knew the magic had cracked, and this show was teetering on the edge. And then came the moment everything cracked, the now infamous run-through. Producers were in the room. So were the financial backers, the ones cutting the checks. The energy was tense but cautiously hopeful. Maybe, just maybe, the pressure would pull it all together. But just 10 minutes in, everything stopped. Rachel halted the rehearsal entirely. According to insiders, she voiced deep dissatisfaction with the lighting, the costumes, even the emotional tone of the space. A full production stop in front of investors. The crew scrambled to recover, making quick adjustments, trying to save face. But Rachel, she vanished. No explanation, no apology. Just gone. Again. And this wasn't a one-time meltdown. Insiders claimed these disappearances became a pattern. Walkouts, silent exits. At one point, producers reportedly brought in lawyers to comb through Rachel's contract. Understudy rehearsals were increased behind the scenes. What started as artistic exploration morphed into full-on crisis control. The energy backstage shifted completely. Once a collaborative environment filled with passion, the production turned cold and quiet. Cast members kept to themselves. Stagehands spoke in hushed tones. The thrill of creating something meaningful was replaced with careful silence and tension. One crew member reportedly described it as the quietest production I've ever worked on. Outside the theater, the storm was building. London's theater world is tight-knit. Whispers don't stay whispers for long. Rachel's name started to carry baggage. Not because of talent. Nobody questioned that. But because of uncertainty. Would she show up? Would she perform? Could she handle the weight of the role? One Broadway insider reportedly told casting directors, "Her name always comes up and then immediately becomes a debate." Another added, "She's not blacklisted, but she's definitely on notice." Even Broadway historians began drawing comparisons. "It's giving Patti LuPone chaos," one theater blog wrote. But the thing is, Patti always showed up. Patti brought the storm, but she delivered. Rachel's drama feels different, less like a seasoned diva, more like a rising star tossed into deep waters without a lifeline. Meanwhile, on TikTok, it was chaos. Users dissected Rachel's body language in leaked rehearsal footage, comparing her EVITA posts from week 1 to week 6. Theories exploded, some even claiming the leaks were planted by her own team to soften the blow of a quiet firing. One viral soundbite repeated like a bootleg DVD clip. Brutal, relentless, and trending. Then came the hashtags. Justice for Rachel. Eva Gate. Stage left saga. Fans demanded answers. Some asked, "Are you broke, Rachel?" Others dragged Disney and Spielberg, questioning if she was ever paid enough to begin with. Theater purists, however, were less forgiving. They wanted professionalism. Accountability. Somewhere in all the noise, the actual story began to blur. Behind the scenes, producers reportedly began quietly interviewing potential replacements. No announcements, just strategic, cautious calls. The theater was still booked. Tickets had to sell. Investors expected returns. As one insider bluntly put it, the show must go on, maybe just not with her. Even Rachel's own inner circle is said to be split, some urging her to lawyer up and fight back, others quietly suggesting a carefully worded apology, even if wrapped in metaphor, might still salvage her future. Then came the leaked security footage. The internet erupted. Fans were outraged. One tweet read, "They're punishing her for being too real." Another said, "Let artists be messy. That's where the magic lives." But the industry wasn't as forgiving. Producers didn't see artistic struggle. They saw a derailed schedule, disrupted rehearsals, and a vanishing lead. Even aspiring performers took note. Some vocal coaches have reportedly started using her story as a cautionary tale. Rachel's story quickly became a lesson in the harsh realities of the industry. Talent and brilliance, absolutely essential. But stability, that's what actually keeps the tour rolling. Of course, Rachel didn't stay quiet. She flooded her social media with those signature poetic captions. "Bruised but blooming. Creating through chaos. My soul knows the truth." To her fans, these were powerful rallying cries. To the EVITA crew, they felt like avoidance, wrapped in artful aesthetics. And let's not forget, this isn't the first time Rachel stirred the pot. Back during Shazam, Fury of the Gods, she openly admitted she took the role just for the paycheck. Then, on the Snow White press tour, she trashed the original film, calling the prince useless, and doubled down until the PR fallout was unavoidable. With EVITA, the goal was different: strip away the noise and focus on the craft. But instead, the noise only grew louder. In a now infamous interview, Rachel told Steven, "Thanks for having me on your show. I sold out years ago and I'm a coward." When asked about playing Snow Latina, she shrugged. "It was weird, but I did enjoy. Reimagining the character as a woke Colombian woman who looks like a fish." Then she doubled down. "Well, I sold out years ago, and I'm a coward." So, what's next for Rachel? Option 1, the indie redemption arc. Take a small, low-budget role. No press, no hype, just raw acting and humility. Prove she can work, without chaos, and rebuild her reputation from the ground up. Option 2, a strategic sabbatical. Go silent, disappear from the spotlight, let the headlines fade, then re-emerge with a fresh team, a new tone, and maybe a carefully crafted apology or two. Option 3, the boldest move of all. Own the drama. Lean into the narrative. Double. Down on activism, rally her loyal fans, and burn the bridges behind her. But here's the catch. Theater doesn't run on trends or social media waves. It runs on trust, the fragile, hard-earned trust of producers, directors, and crews who depend on one another. And right now, Rachel's got a long way to go to rebuild that trust, because in theater, there are no second takes. You get one shot, one cue, one chance to shine. When the lights go up, you either rise or vanish. The stage is darkened. The whispers, louder than ever, and all eyes remain locked on Rachel Zegler. The question hanging in the air? What happens next? Now that's the real show.